Well, welcome back to A Course in Miracles, where we're going to pose some incredibly deep questions today. Yeah, the deepest, in fact, that you could get. Who am I? Who am I? What am I? And you could also ask, where am I? All of these are answered by experience. It's interesting. They're not answered by the intellectual mind that poses them nonetheless. They're answered by our experience. And please pay particular attention to our discussion today of lesson 252 in the workbook for students here in A Course in Miracles. The Son of God is my identity. The Son of God is my identity. That's the idea for today. It's the answer to the question, who am I? It's the answer to the question, what am I? And where am I as well? The answer, in God. The Son of God is my identity. You'll notice identity is capitalized. Capital I. Yeah. It's who you are. It's who I am. It's who we all are together, because there is no separation of any kind. So I hope that you may find this exciting to really know deep down who you are. Now, naturally, the world shouts at us otherwise, that we're an independently existing thing called a body, and this independently existing thing called human beings, called gender, called the world, all of the labels and terms that we put on everything. Our entire experience, the world can show us something else, but we can choose to see otherwise. We can choose to be shown otherwise. We can choose love. We can choose the thought system of the Holy Spirit, which is presented in A Course in Miracles. And other spiritual traditions, by the way, present the same thought system. It appears maybe differently on the surface. You may have different practices or different rituals. There may not be a 365 idea workbook for students that one goes through systematically, one day at a time, in an orderly fashion. May not have anything like that, but the gist of it is there's more to it than meets the eye. There's more to this world, there's more to the truth of who we are than what our physical senses show us. And we know this. It's the fun part, isn't it? We know this, we're aware of it. We have only to get out of our own way and allow this to be, to express itself. So how do we know? This is a good question, isn't it? I mean, how do I know, right? Maybe you're asking yourself this. I want some proof, okay? Concrete proof, empirical data, right? How will I know that this is true, that I am the Son of God? Well, to that very good question, I say, let your experience show you, by getting out of your own way and doing what your teacher, your guide or guides, the Holy Spirit, says for you to do. And trust in that direction. Sounds simple, doesn't it? I mean, it sounds really simple. Yet to the ego, it sounds like certain death, which it is. But the ego will naturally try to convince you otherwise. You'll find yourself inventing every excuse in the book and then coming up with new ones that aren't in the book because the book is not exhaustive, is it? You'll find yourself running around, distracted, doing anything but taking a look at what's really going on. And what's deep down going on is the Son of God is your identity. You are the extension of God, the thought of God, God's creation. And that's not just something that people say, it's the truth. When we say in this particular thought system, God is, what is implicit in that very short statement is just as important, isn't it, as the statement itself. It's what's not said that really, truly carries some serious weight for our purposes. Now, truth, absolute truth, is beyond words. Words are just symbols. They're not the thing that they represent, and the thing that they represent, if it's not love, it's not real at all. Remember, from the summary of A Course in Miracles, nothing unreal exists, right? The start of that statement, again, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. When we say God is, implicit in that statement, nothing else is. Nothing unreal exists. Therefore, who are you? The Son of God. This is your identity with a capital I. And of course, you may call yourself by many different names. We have many different names in the world, right? We have our given name. We may change our given name legally through marriage or through a court order otherwise. Right? We could change it. We could go by a nickname. We call ourselves all kinds of different things, don't we? We apply all sorts of terms and labels to ourselves, such as human being. What's that? What is that? We made it up. Male, female, you could refer to yourself based on where you're from, what part of the world you're from, what your ethnic background is, what you do for work, which is a really interesting label that we pin on ourselves, right? I'm a teacher, I'm a doctor, I'm an attorney, I'm a contractor. We can have many of those terms, labels in our lifetime. We apply them to ourselves. Yet, who are we? The Son of God. I invite you to really think about this. And it's valuable to think about this. And then I invite you to go beyond just thinking about it and put this into practice. So one thing you can do is contemplate this idea from the workbook. Sit with it. Another thing that you can do is simply recite today's idea. There are plenty of people who go through the workbook for students and set a timer on their watch, or they have the day's idea posted somewhere prominently, like a post-it note or a sticky note where they can see it. Do whatever works for you to remember, because life is, in fact, it's a living, breathing, waking meditation. And you can choose to see the object of meditation as the day's idea in the workbook. It's very, very deeply handy for that. It's perfect because the ideas are all very short. And once you remember the idea, they're something that the mind can come back to. Just like the breath, or a mantra, or sound, or the instructions of a guide in a meditation practice. When we notice we're carried away by life, distracted, thinking about tomorrow's breakfast, we bring our attention back to the present moment. When we're worried about something that may or may not happen next month, we bring our awareness and attention back to the present moment. Life is a constant practice of meditation. This is one of the ways that you could see spiritual practice applying to all of life. When seen in this way, it's more than just something you do for 5 or 10 minutes once or twice a day, isn't it? It's more than just something that you do once a week, like going to church or synagogue or a temple, something like that. It's something you can do all the time because we have only the present moment, and that extends. The present moment just is. So we have many opportunities to bring our awareness back to the object of meditation, so to speak, the day's idea. Life is a constant ongoing stream of opportunity to choose love. The more we seize that opportunity, the more pleasant our experience is, and the quicker we realize who we really are, which is in fact the Son of God. Who else? When you really think about it, who else are you? Who else could you possibly be? All right, guys. Happy practicing. Again, I invite you always to contemplate the day's idea and to go beyond that and apply it in your life. Remind yourself of it. And even better still, continue to forgive. Continue to have the refrain in your mind, like a broken record, like a skipping disc, something on constant strobe light style repeat, if that's what you need. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. It's your peace as well. So let's all step into that. All right. Thank you for joining me.